weddings. In the region of 200 weddings a year take place at Claravale Church. And that's the reason why there are some pieces of twine on the signpost. That's an indication to people who may have travelled from afar where the actual wedding ceremony is taking place. A colleague of mine was travelling along this road last summer one day doing exactly the same tour as we're doing today. And on his way up to that junction at Claravale Church, there was a huge traffic jam in the region of 100 cars. And when he eventually made his way up to the top of the junction, he stopped and he spoke briefly to a man standing on the side of the road with his dog. And he just inquired what was going on. And the man told him that there was a funeral taking place. And my colleague said it must have been a very important and a very popular person. And the man with the dog replied, yes, she was a very popular person. She was my mother-in-law. And my colleague duly tendered his sympathy. And as he turned to continue on his journey, he just inquired, what happened to your mother-in-law? And the man with the dog replied, well, putting it bluntly, sir, the dog standing beside me here bit her and she died. And my colleague said, well, that's very sad. Can I have a lonelier dog? And the man replied, yes, you can, but you have got to get back to the end of the line. So the poor old mother-in-law. So the next part of the journey, folks, is particularly scenic. The roads are a little bit twisty and windy and up and down, so just relax and enjoy it. Those of you who haven't taken your travel sickness tablet yet, but I'm afraid it's too late now. Here on the right hand side, now the sign tells me that this area is called Ballygannon Wood. And at the turn of the millennium, countries and governments all over the world were looking for particular ways to celebrate the new millennium. We think the Irish government came up with a very novel idea in that they planted a tree for every family in the state. Each family got a certificate depending on where the tree was, the number of the tree, brand new tree so that over the years they could watch it develop. So here in Ireland we say at the turn of the millennium the Irish people got a tree. And what did the Americans get? A real live bush. Here we are now approaching the small town of Rathdrum. It is something similar in size to Blessington. And if you look to your left, well, there's downstairs and we're upstairs here. When I say it's similar, it has one main thoroughfare through the town, and all the roads from that they all lead up to the right. Well, there are three main points of interest to us here in Rathdrum. The first one is here on the left hand side called Jacob's Well, and that was voted Pub of the Year in Ireland 2005. Did anybody ever see the film Michael Collins with Liam Neeson in the lead role? Well, there's a scene in that film where Michael Collins is addressing the troops in a town square. And that town square is just ahead of us here on the right hand side, here in the centre of Rathdrum, just where the cars are parked here now on the right. If you have seen the film, you may recognise it. If not, then you're going to get it on DVD when you go home. And you can tell your friends, well, there you are, folks, I was there. And the third point of interest to us here in Rathdrum is just here on the left-hand side, Parnell Memorial Park, to a famous Irishman called Charles Stewart Parnell, and there he is over there on the left, standing in statue with his arms folded over your left shoulder. There's a lovely monument to an Irish stag just below us here on at the wall on the left. Charles Stewart Parnell's family lived in a large house just ahead of us here at the junction, about 2 kilometres away, called Avondale House. Why do I mention Avondale?